Basketball is increasingly growing into a truly global game. Both the number of foreign-born players in the NBA and the number of countries American players are now willing to play in are growing. For every Giannis Antetokounmpo, Nikola Jokic, and Joel Embiid, there's a Ty Lawson in China, Anthony Randolph in Spain, Josh Powell in Argentina, and Gabe Pruitt in Mongolia. Basketball is everywhere, even the worst places to live in the world. Micheal Madanly is a 6'5" professional basketball player with a long and well-traveled career. His name is spelled with the E before the A, quite literally because the government misspelled it on his birth certificate. He was born in Aleppo, Syria, so thanks a lot, Syria, for not spelling his name right, I guess. Aleppo is quite possibly the worst place to live in the world this century. Syria itself, as a country, has been in a state of civil war since 2011, and in a continuous state of national emergency since 1963, meaning less than 10% of living Syrians have ever not lived in a state of emergency. That's clearly less than ideal. Chances are, if you're consuming this video, you're doing so without being able to fathom the difficulties that come with living in a state of constant civil war. We're not trying to make you feel bad as you watch this video drinking a hot cup of coffee and Googling your little hearts out. But it's something to keep in mind whenever angered about whatever first-class, not actual problem you have. Anyway, their civil war is both one of the most convoluted and dangerous political situations of our time. And because of that, I'm going to tread carefully with what I say. Well, as best as I can. As a very short summary, there are four main sides to the conflict: the Syrian government, the opposition forces, democratic opposition of forces, and ISIS. You might be unfamiliar with the first three, but the last one, yeah, you probably know them. Three of those sides have dozens of different, fairly unorganized militias and the support of multiple outside countries. And the other one is ISIS. I might not be the foremost expert on international relations, but I do know that ISIS is bad. They're the skeleton to the rest of the planet's He-Man.
By the power of Grayskull!
Also, they're losing, which is good. What is clear is that Aleppo is one of the worst places to be, even among Syria. In a 4.5-year-long battle, all four of the major sides in the war had control of the city at different times, and civilians were actively being bombed by most, if not everyone, and over 30,000 civilians died. Probably way more than 30,000, but that's the official count. Whew. That's out of the way. Now let's get back to Micheal Madanly. His career started naturally with his hometown team, Al Jalaa, but playing basketball for them was only his second choice. Madanly had been playing both basketball and soccer for their youth team, and he originally wanted to play soccer, but the year that he finally made the professional team, the Syrian Soccer League was shut down for part of the year because of a promising political event called the Damascus Spring. And while the soccer league was shut down, the basketball league wasn't, and that was that. After his rookie year, he was forced to serve 4 years with the military, which for him, since he was a high-profile athlete, meant he got to spend 4 years playing for the military-run basketball teams instead of actually risking his life. During his time for the military-run teams, he established himself as the best player in the country. By 21, he won his first championship, and by 22, his first MVP, and by 23, his second MVP, and then his third, his fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and ninth, all in a row, with 5 more titles sprinkled in. Apparently, he was Bill Russell-ian, or is it Bill Russell-ish? Russell-y? A Russ-like master? Nah, never mind. He was seen as Syria's version of Michael Jordan, and he was celebrated as if he were an NBA star playing in their country, until everything went terribly wrong. See, Madanly and his family were Christians. 87% of Syrians are Muslim, and Islamism was a big factor in the outbreak of the Syrian Civil War in 2011. With the government's crackdown on speech growing more severe, the only places many people felt safe to meet were in mosques. As a result, Islamic extremism skyrocketed, and so did crimes against Christians. Soon after the war broke out, Micheal Madanly's brother Habib was kidnapped by Islamist militants and held hostage for 10 days. Madanly came up with the money to pay for his brother's release, and then their entire family fled the country. The 2 brothers to the United States, and the rest of their family to the Netherlands. After defecting from Syria, Micheal Madanly was quickly offered a large contract by a Chinese team called Fushan Dragons, where he started alongside NBA talents like Gerald Green, Rashad McCants, Shavlik Randolph, and Marcus Hayslip, averaging roughly 20 points for the first 2 years. After his time playing in China was up, it was off to the Philippines and Lebanon, before finally moving up to the Netherlands to end his career with 2 years playing close to his family. But perhaps his greatest accomplishment was returning to Syria. No, he never went back to the war-torn country, don't be crazy. But after some convincing from his agent and close friend Samaki Walker, a former NBA champion with the Lakers who used to be teammates with Madanly, as the only NBA player to have ever played in Syria, Madanly returned to play for his country in the FIBA Asia Cup in the summer of 2017. This was the first time he represented his country since fleeing 6 years earlier. And while they won only one game and finished 10th out of 16 teams, that one win over India must have felt like he'd finally conquered everything the country that he loves put him through. Most of the basketball-loving world is unlikely to have ever heard of Micheal Madanly, and it's not their fault. But sometimes, no matter the talent, situations beyond someone's control forces them away from reaching historical heights like Westerners are accustomed to with their NBA superstars. Madanly never became an NBA star, but for a lot of people, he did something more important than that. He became a hero of the downtrodden, who, like him, had to regularly risk it all just to do the things they loved. Thank you guys for watching. As always, I'm Frank Smith. You can follow me at FMS_Frank Smith and ClutchPoints at ClutchPoints. Check out all of our mini documentaries and compilations on Facebook, YouTube, and IGTV. For this video, I want you to let me know who's your international All-NBA. You don't have to worry about guards and forwards. Just give me 5 guys who are going to go out there and win. Thank you guys. Until next time.